It's time to preview my beloved New York Yankees for 2026. Up next on Fantasy Baseball Today. Welcome to On the Beat, our mini team preview series here at Fantasy Baseball Today. I am Frank Stampfl, joined by Gary Phillips, who covers the Yankees for the New York Daily News. Make sure to give Gary a follow on X at Gary H. Phillips. That's with 2 L's if you're looking for it. First question, how much time do you have? Because I can rant about the Yankees all day long, as I'm sure many of their fans would like to. Let's kind of run through the offseason. And at time of recording, it is January 14th. The offseason is incomplete. By the time this podcast is published, I'm sure the team will look a little bit different, or at least that's the hope. They just traded 4 prospects away for Ryan Weathers. They brought back Ryan Yarbrough and Ahmed Rosario on one-year deals. As of now, Cody Bellinger has not re-signed, but let's just assume that he is back for the sake of this. I do believe that he will be back. We know that they'll have to wait for Carlos Rodon and Garrett Cole and Anthony Volpe to return, hopefully early in the season, May, June, something like that. Do you think running it back plus the addition of Weathers is enough to actually take down the AL East? Because all the teams around them are getting better. The Orioles have made huge moves. The Blue Jays have made huge moves. The Red Sox have made some trades and just signed Ranger Suarez as well. So what do you think right now? Because the AL East just continues to get much better around the Yankees.
I personally think that the Yankees need more than what they had last year and what they've done so far this offseason. Even if Bellinger comes back, I still think the bullpen has a lot of question marks, a lot of uncertainty. Even the more established names, so to speak, in that group are, a little more on the erratic side. If you're looking at somebody like Camilo Doval, Fernando Cruz, I still think even after the Weathers trade that they should be trying to trade for a frontline starting pitcher, somebody like Freddie Peralta, who is still available at the time of this recording. I happen to think that the Yankees and the Brewers match up pretty well on a deal there because Milwaukee is known to be looking for young, controllable pitching, and the Yankees have guys at the major league and high minor league levels that could fit that description. But yeah, to keep the answer short, I think the Yankees do need to add more than what they had last year, and that's if they sign Bellinger back.
And we have seen reports that the Yankees are still in the market for pitching even after adding Ryan Weathers. So, yeah, I agree. I think Peralta makes a lot of sense. I've kind of wondered all offseason, getting an outfielder in plus making a trade for Peralta and Trevor McGill. That feels like it would solve a lot of problems for the Yankees. I know McGill could be had in trade, or at least that's what it sounds like as well. Not saying that I know anything, but it's just kind of like me wish casting, I guess, what I want the Yankees to do this offseason. Let's get into some big fantasy questions here with the Yankees. And Ben Rice is somebody that the fantasy industry is very, very excited about this season, partially because he still has catcher eligibility for fantasy, but he's going to play every day at first base, or at least that's what we're hoping. Do you believe that Ben Rice will be an everyday player this season versus lefties, versus righties with the Yankees?
That's certainly what the Yankees are hoping for. Now, go back to the winter meetings, and Boone made it pretty clear that he expects Rice to play against lefties more this season. They were a little resistant to that at times this past season, kind of picking and choosing against what they deemed to be more favorable matchups when they could. But based on what the Yankees have said, based on what they've done so far and the construction of their roster, it looks like Rice is going to be playing every day, primarily at first base. It sounds like they're still going to keep catcher open as an option for him. You kind of saw him doing that once, twice a week toward the end of the season. I wouldn't expect that to increase. I wouldn't look at him as a traditional backup catcher, but probably getting in there enough, and probably got in there enough this past season to qualify as a catcher / first baseman for anybody playing fantasy baseball and looking for a little versatility.
Yeah, so if you look at the numbers against lefties last season with Ben Rice, the strikeout rate was high, approaching 28%, batting average a little bit lower, 208, but the slug was still really good, 481. The overall OPS against lefties, 752, 104 WRC plus, so he was an above average hitter against left-handed pitching last season. So I do believe that he's kind of earned that opportunity. I think he'll start that way as well. And then if he struggles against lefties, I think maybe they can kind of work in some platoon stuff. But I think at least I agree with you. I think they'll start the season with him as an everyday player, and hopefully he can take advantage of that. Next up, what is the plan for Jason Dominguez? I guess you can kind of answer this in two ways, like with and without Cody Bellinger on the team. Obviously, if Bellinger's not back, like I think Dominguez just has a real chance to play every day in left field and hopefully can get better as a defender. But if Bellinger is back, what do you think happens with Jason Dominguez in that case?
I mean, if Bellinger is back, Dominguez is considered expendable. That's not to say he'll absolutely be traded, but somebody like him, somebody like Spencer Jones, who is at the top of the system, certainly become enticing trade chips if you're the Yankees, especially if you're still looking for pitching. They don't have a ton of organizational outfield depth right now. You saw them get rid of Brendan Jones, who maybe was a couple injuries away from having to play some sort of emergency type role. You saw him get dealt in the Ryan Weathers trade. Jones is kind of the top of the depth chart as far as non-major league guys at the moment. So do they automatically trade Dominguez or Jones? I think that depends on what another team is asking, what the Yankees are asking for. But I don't think you miss them as much, one or the other, if Bellinger's back. You certainly don't have an everyday role for either player at the start of the 2026 season, barring any other injuries. Now, if Bellinger doesn't come back, I think Dominguez is probably the favorite to start in left field. Yankees have talked a little bit about Dominguez and Jones competing in spring training and all that. There's still a lot of swing and miss concern with Jones. There's still a lot of defensive concern with Dominguez. So I think both options or that overall plan certainly comes with flaws. It would also have to come with a right-handed platoon bat. I wrote about that this morning. Some names that I know the Yankees have expressed interest in a Bellinger contingency plan are Austin Hayes, Harrison Bader, former friend of the program, right? I also even mentioned, Miguel Andujar would be an interesting right-handed bat for the team, although he still can't play defense, even though he's moved around the field a little bit. So I don't think plan B is all that exciting. There's some trade pieces, some outfielders they could look at in trades as well. Maybe somebody like Luis Robert Jr. on the White Sox, but he's coming off of 2 down seasons. Their best bet is still to re-sign Cody Bellinger. And, there is an element here that these two sides need each other a little bit.
All right, let's take a quick break and we'll be back right after this.
When you need your sports news all the time,
we've got breaking news to bring to you.
CBS Sports HQ gives you a snapshot of all the sports that matter to you. When you need your sports in a snap, find it on CBS Sports HQ, streaming free anywhere you are.
Welcome back in Fantasy Baseball. Today we are previewing the Yankees with Gary Phillips, who covers the team for the New York Daily News. Let's get into a sleeper for the Yankees this upcoming season. Who you got?
Well, one guy I like for fantasy purposes is Jose Caballero. Now, as of right now, he's going to kind of be the unchallenged starting shortstop on opening day and for however long Anthony Volpe is out for. What happens when Volpe comes back, I think is going to be largely dependent on what Caballero is doing and how he's performing. You saw the Yankees toward the end of this past season and during the offseason soften their stance a little bit about Volpe and just, the shortstop job being his. Caballero's going to get playing time at the start of the season. He's a tremendous stolen base threat. He's extremely versatile. So while the Yankees are probably going to be using him at short more often than not, you're going to be able to plug him in at different spots. Raises on base percentage with the Yankees last year, got his OPS up a little bit. He's got some sneaky power. I'm interested to see what he does with, the month or so of everyday play that he's expected to get right now.
Caballero is a menace. I think it's just the best word to describe him. You see this guy on the base paths, right? As soon as he gets on first base, and I've heard like the broadcasters talk about this and reading things about Caballero is like, he's almost just trying to distract the pitcher, like dancing around on first base and things. And then obviously he gets these tremendous jumps and he's very fast and the sprint speed is there. And, he's stolen 40 plus bags 2 years in a row. So he will get the opportunity early on in the season. I just wonder, man, like if he performs really well while Volpe's out, maybe he's just the guy. Like maybe he's just their starting shortstop for the season. Maybe they kind of mix and match here and there, but he will get that opportunity early on. And there is a chance that he can run away with that job. No pun intended. What about a breakout here for the Yankees this upcoming season?
I kind of like Weathers for this pick. He's had a ton of injuries over the last couple of years. I mean, really throughout his entire career, he's still only 26 years old, but he's got big fastball. He's got 3 pitches with a whiff percentage over 33%. Has shown when healthy, he can be an effective major league starter. Now, looks like right now he's going to slot into the back of the Yankees rotation, that number 4, number 5 slot. He's going to be pitching with the understanding that the Yankees have some more established guys coming back, but that he's not the only one in his situation necessarily. There's room for improvement, you could argue, with Will Warren, with Luis Heel, who also have tremendous upside and are still young. So I'm very curious to see what the Yankees and their pitching lab and their department does with Weathers. They obviously liked him to make, go ahead and trade 4 prospects for him. They obviously see more there. If I were the Yankees, I would be looking to maybe tweak his arsenal a little bit, lay off the fastball some, adjust the sinker, maybe add a different type of fastball, something like that. But very curious to see what he can do.
Yeah, Ryan Weathers has been a popular breakout pick in the fantasy industry as well. We see a lot of the same things that you just talked about. I wonder if them maybe taking his velocity down a little bit could help him stay healthy, because that has really, he's thrown harder over the past couple of years, and he's dealt with flexor tendon stuff and a lat injury. So I wonder if maybe dial it back a little bit and just let that stuff take over, right? The nasty sweeper and the changeup and all that. So we'll see how the Yankees handle him, but I think he's in a great spot. Obviously, they do a great job with their pitching development there, and he will get an opportunity early on in the season while those other pitchers are hurt. Big thanks to Gary Phillips, who covers the Yankees for the New York Daily News. Make sure to give him a follow on X at Gary H. Phillips with 2 L's if you're looking for that. For more extensive fantasy baseball coverage, listen to our full-length podcast, Fantasy Baseball Today, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or anywhere else podcasts are found. Thanks for listening to our On the Beat team preview series, and we will be back again tomorrow. Bye-bye.